Hello and welcome back to the Trademark Sports YouTube channel. We are, about a month away from State of Origin, so it's time to talk State of Origin and everything New South Wales Blues. We're going to go through today my predicted side. Well, the side that I'll pick, let's say, if I was Magic Maguire, I think he might go some different directions in different places to me. But yeah, we're going to go through, talk about my selections, justify them, and who else is likely to get picked, and chat about how I reckon the Blues will go. So if you enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment saying what your team is for the Blues going into game one at least anyway, and yeah, who you'd like to see get picked from your team, who your smokies are, all that sort of good stuff. So without further ado, let's crack on into it. Fullback is a bit of a contentious position for the Blues. There's lots and lots of talent in fullback for New South Wales. However, I think it is now time for the mantle to be passed on and for Dylan Edwards to be picked as the New South Wales Blues fullback. I think if you look at it now, every single category you sort of want to see from a fullback, like between him and Tedesco, I think Dylan Edwards is better than him in every single one of those categories now. Obviously, James Tedesco has been a fantastic player for a long, long time, and he started the season really well, and he's still been playing some good footy. He's been playing better footy in the last 2 years, but at the same time, like, so is Dylan Edwards. So my concerns last year with Dylan Edwards were that I think his game is very similar to James Tedesco's. Like, I just didn't see how an injection of Dylan Edwards was going to change the way we played that much, because his passing game wasn't fantastic. His ball playing this year has just skyrocketed in terms of ability. He's really obviously worked on it in the off-season, and I think he's pretty much the best all-round fullback probably in the comp at the moment. Other guys that I considered, Tonja Bojovic, I think he's probably better off in the centres just for the way that this team's structured. Scotty Drinkwater, I think, again, he's another fantastic player that's really good in all areas. Ryan Pappenhausen's now injured and will be out. That's probably the main ones I can think of there. I touched on Tedesco as well. So, yeah, for me, Dylan Edwards is my fullback. Now, onto the wings. First one's Brian To'o. I think I need to justify that one. Probably the best winger in the comp. Like, some people say that he shouldn't get picked because obviously Queensland have quite tall wingers, and he's not good in the air, but I don't remember ever watching Brian To'o and thinking he's being out-competed in the air or being like necessarily just being targeted for that and not living up to it. The other winger, look, it's contentious. I'm going to go for Stephen Crichton. I think Stephen Crichton has to be in this team somewhere, and we are pretty stacked in the centres too, I believe. So obviously I'll justify that in a little second. But yeah, Stephen Crichton, for me, he has to be in this team. Great in big games that we've seen for Penrith. He's sort of hasn't had his moment really in the Origin Arena just yet. I think that definitely will come. Hopefully this series for him. I do think he'll be one of the first names picked probably for Magic, hopefully anyway, because even since he's moved to the Bulldogs, I thought he would drop off in form a little bit, and obviously he hasn't reached the heights of Penrith. That's also because Nathan Cleary's not his halfback. I don't think anyone's going to play as good without Nathan Cleary next to him, but his form hasn't dropped off all too much, to be honest. I think he's still been a really, really good player and needs to be in this team somewhere. The other guy that I want to sort of pick would be Zach Lomax, so I think he's probably just a little, like a tiny little bit off just yet. There's something, I don't know what it is, but I think there's something just a little bit missing for me for Zach Lomax just as of yet. Obviously, I'm a massive Dragons fan, and I watch all their games, and like he's been super impressive, and I'd love to see him there. But I just think, like, last couple of weeks, his form has dropped off, and he can obviously pick it back up and absolutely still be in the conversation. But, I mean, he's in the conversation anyway, but for me, right now, he's just outside my team. My centres, again, obviously, like as I said before, Tonja Bojovic is one of them. The other one, I'm going Bradman Best again. When he got selected last year, it was very, very interesting, and I don't know how I felt about it, but geez, he killed it. And he's one of those guys that you see, like, I hate to comparing everything to Queensland. It's one of my pet peeves in Origin, but I'm going to do it. See Queensland make these sort of roguish selections, these Origin players come out and they just kill it, and then they can't get him out of the team. I think Bradman Best showed he's an Origin player, he's an Origin football. Obviously was in great form last year, but I don't think his form's been all too bad so far to start this year. The Knights haven't been as good, but I don't think Bradman Best has been that far off the pace, off the ball from where he was last year. And I think he'll really step up to the plate, and he's just got that passion and that desire to beat Queensland, like, because he hates them. Like, all these guys should hate Queensland. We grew up, because they're like, a few of these blokes, they're around my age. We grew up getting pumped year after year. We should hate Queensland, and I think Bradman Best is one of those players that certainly does that. So he makes my team. A couple of different interesting selections for me in my outside backs. Let me know what you think about them, whether you rate them, whether you hate them, whatnot, in the comments. Halves at 6. I think we've got to go Nicho Hynes, don't we? I know he's come out and said he doesn't know if he's ready, but I think if Madge Maguire backs him, then he will stand on his head for him. To be honest, I want Mitch Moses there. I think he's going to have 1 or 2 games coming back from injury, and I just don't think he'll be ready just yet. But Nicho, I think he can play. Like, if he does, he's not going to have to control the team for the Blues. Obviously, be Cleary's job, but I also think that he can pick it up for maybe 15, 20 minutes if Cleary wants to just see like what's going on and just like play run first football, that kind of thing. Because I think what we saw in the grand final last year with the way Cleary played with Cogger, I think that can work in Origin. Sort of Cleary having the pressure of organising the team taken off him and just being able to just do what he wants, basically. So I think having like a organisational 7 next to him would, like, playing as a 6 would be really, really good for the dynamic of the Blues team. So like, that's why I kind of think Mitch Moses would be great. He's been fantastic in his couple of games he's played in Origin as well. I think he's one of those players that really has that Origin ticker about him. Nicho Hynes, obviously, he's played 7 minutes of Origin, out of position, and made a costly mistake. I just hope for him that that's not the end of his Origin career. I don't think it will be, but I'm not sold on it. I'd love to see him come out and rip and tear, but yeah, so at the moment, Nicho Hynes is my 6, Nathan Cleary is my 7. Enough said. Front row as well sort of picks itself. Payne Haas and Jake Trbojevic. Again, they're just the obvious selections. And then my hooker, I'm going Api Coruscant. Been in fantastic form this season for the Tigers. He's just honestly blowing me away with how good he is, even as he gets older. Damien Cook won't be there this season, so that hooker spot sort of frees up, even though he did play a game last season, I believe. I just get muddled up. But yeah, we'll get into my bench obviously later. I don't know if I'm carrying a second hooker, to be honest. Second row, Liam Martin, again, just Origin footballer, has to be there. My other second rower, Hamolo Olakau'atu, gets his chance. I think for sure, every single season so far of his career, he started fantastically. His name gets tossed up in Origin discussions and he just teeters off just a little bit. He hasn't done that so far this season. Obviously, he's suspended as of right now, the 7th of May. Got 1 more week serving his suspension, but I think that honestly might be the best thing for him as well. A couple of weeks just to freshen up and get out there and just really make a charge form-wise into Origin. I think he'll be probably in there for Michael Maguire's team. Another guy I can pick is Angus Crichton's really hit form again. Poor old Keon Koloamatangi's a bit of a victim of the Rabbitohs being awful. I thought he was great when he played Origin last year. But yeah, for me, Liam Martin and Hamolo Olakau'atu will be my second rowers. Now, the lock forward position, the bloke they're going to have to pick is not my first choice. I would love Cameron Murray to be there. Really, really good at finding quick play of the ball, run first, lock forward, can ball play, but quick. He's got that extra gear. And that brings me on to Isaiah Yeo, who will obviously be picked for the lock forward position for the Blues. Now that Cameron Murray is out, there's no really any other people sticking their hand up as far as I can think. So Isaiah Yeo, he hasn't been poor in Origin. He hasn't done anything wrong, but he hasn't been great. He's fantastic at club level in that Penrith system. But I think that when he plays Origin, the game's just that little bit quicker. He hasn't got that extra gear to go with everyone, and he seems to be pass first all the time, and it's so telegraphed because he's just that extra step behind the rest of the play. That's just the way I see it anyway. I think if he can be more run first dominant in Origin, I think obviously Michael Maguire is going to play his style of football and not just the Penrith system. I think we've seen that try to work the last couple of years, but when you don't have the personnel there, it doesn't quite work. When you don't have Moses Leota, James Fisher-Harris there for starters, the rest of it sort of just falls to bits. But in saying that, I do think, like, obviously he's a fantastic player, and Isaiah Yeo. He's been one of the best players in the comp last few years. He's a sensational footballer. I just really hope that this season he can translate that onto the Origin field. But as I said, like, he wouldn't be my first choice, but with injuries, that's who we've got. Then onto the bench. I didn't really, like, I think I heard this the other day from on the Levels podcast, and I hadn't really thought of it as much of a shout until, like, he's been playing some pretty good footy, because usually, like, I mean, the way it is now, you sort of carry a second hooker as your utility, but this guy, he's played Origin before, played really, really well too. I think it man of the match in his first game, and I'd love to see him get back there. He's been really, really good so far this season. Matt Burton's going to be my 14. I think he can cover the halves if something happens, cover the outside backs if something happens. He's big enough that he could come on him and play 13 if Isaiah Yeo needs a break. And the fact he's half, look, there's another player on my bench that can play dummy half. But the thing, it's an idea I've had since last Origin. I don't know how well it's going to be received, but I think you could bring on, like, if Coruscant needs a break, which he probably will in Origin, because hookers can't play 80 minutes in an NRL game anymore. It's that quick, let alone Origin. You could move Nathan Cleary to hooker for 20 minutes, I reckon. And I think he'd actually play fantastic there. It's just an idea I have. Look, it just gets my rugby league brain firing. We've seen Joey do it in Origin, and I think Nathan Cleary is the closest thing we've ever seen to Joey in terms of actual play style. And I think he definitely could handle it. But yeah, so anyway, that's a video for another day. Matt Burton's my 14. And then the front rowers on the bench for me, I'm going Stefano. He's played last year, probably didn't really earn it last year. This season he certainly has. He's gone to a completely another level, and he's been fantastic. My other front rower, I actually kind of struggled for a name here. Regan Campbell-Gillard, like, Junior Paulo's obviously there as well, but I don't think he's been great in Origin. Does that same impact. Regan Campbell-Gillard, I know there's some players there that apparently aren't his biggest fan, but hey, going to win Origin. I think Regan Campbell-Gillard will go a long way for that off the bench. So I think you can sort of build a bridge and get over it for 3 weeks of your life and win some Origin football. That would be nice. However, a guy that I would have liked to see play last year, well, anyway, he's one of my spokies for Origin. Start the year, hasn't played for a while. He's got a month to prove himself again. Spencer Leniu. I think he's going to be very hungry to play some football after his 6 week suspension. 8? Long suspension anyway. Yeah, 8 weeks. So he'll be fresh and ready to go. I'm looking to see how big his impact is in that Roosters rotation for the next month. But I certainly think that's a name to watch out for this team. And then my 17, to round out my team, got Cameron McInnes. I think he's certainly just an Origin footballer. Again, can play lock, can play back row, can also play hooker. I know I haven't seen him do it for a couple of years, but if need be, if Coruscant does need that break, he will do a job for 20 minutes. Let Coruscant get some oxygen back in the system and send him back out there. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, his versatility will be fair. Like, it will honestly come so in handy. And if you have both Burton and McInnes on the bench, your whole squad's covered. I know you don't want to go into the game sort of think about what ifs. Like, you have your plan, you have your set plan for these guys, but you can adapt if something goes wrong. And that's my team. So, like, if you want an 18th man, I'll probably put Scott Drinkwater there. But from 1 to 17, you've got Dylan Edwards, Brian Toto, Tom Trbojevic, Bradman Best, Stephen Crichton, Nico Hines, Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas, Api Coruscant, Jake Trbojevic, Homole Olakawatu, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Matt Burton, Stefano Utikamanu, Regan Campbell-Gillard, and Cameron McInnes. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, make sure you click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content, and hey, go the Blues.